Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Joe and I'm going to be doing my comic book movie reviews week 4. Here's your spoiler alert. As usual, we're going to be starting off with Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This particular episode was pretty much all about getting Ghost Rider's uncle out of jail, because he's kind of the key component to stop the ghosts that are going around killing people. They're looking for a book, but we're not exactly sure what the book does yet. We just know that they need it to help make sure that they're not ghosts anymore. Well, Ghost Rider actually ends up taking out like 3 of them in the prison while they're trying to save his uncle. The ghost has already gone through and started tapping on people and making them go insane. So the warden is one of them and all of his deputies. So of course, hijinks ensues. May saves Coulson's life, and then Coulson goes and saves May's life. His prosthetic hand that he has with all of the gadgets in it. The new thing that we get to see that his arm does this week is actually really cool, and it's this. So Daisy ends up joining those two, and while running through the prison trying to get to Elias to set him free and get to him before the ghost does, the head ghost actually ends up trapping them in a cell block and letting all of the prisoners escape. And it just so happens that all the prisoners in this particular wing are of what? The Watchdogs. They end up actually getting away with Fitz's help. They end up getting into the cafeteria, locks out Coulson and May on the opposite end of the cafeteria, while 20 or 30 of these guys from the Watchdogs coming to kill them. She ended up taking down like 25 guys before May and Coulson actually gets back in, because of course she ends up almost getting killed. Mac, Ghost Rider, and Elias are running throughout the prison to escape. Previously, when they were walking through, they found this gangster from the 5th Street Gang. And the 5th Street Gang happens to be the same gang that were targeting Ghost Rider and his little brother, and now his little brother is in a wheelchair. So Ghost Rider tells Elias and Mac to run, to get out, and then he goes back to kill the guy. Well, because Ghost Rider decided that he was going to go and have revenge because the spirit in him what made him do it, Elias now ends up actually getting caught by the ghost, and now they're going back to the science lab. Okay, going on to Simmons this episode. Like I stated in the previous video, she actually has to go through a series of lie detector tests, and she ends up actually failing it. But the new director comes out and kind of saves her. There's a new threat to the Inhumans in the Senator, and he needs to kind of battle of wits with her on live TV. So he puts this little headset in, and Simmons is telling all of the actual correct information to make sure that he looks good. Turns out that Simmons' lie detector test actually showed she was lying, and now the director, after having used her to make sure that he goes through this press conference unscathed. So while he's in this press conference, he decides to go off comm.
I'm an Inhuman.
Director Mace, just to be sure I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying you are literally inhuman?
Yes, I'm an Inhuman.
So he ends up actually bringing up the lie detector test, and that there were some anomalies in it, which she actually ends up going and saying, which is really cool. She ends up doing this.
What are you getting at?
I don't think you want me to strap back into that machine. He may ask me what I thought of that story you told on television today. You know, the one about becoming a hero in Vienna. Because if asked, I would have to tell the truth, which we both know you didn't do.
Harlan? I'm going to exempt Agent Simmons from any further testing.
Thank you, sir. He's right, you know. A team that trusts is a team that triumphs.
Okay, so now on to Supergirl. So in this episode, we actually get to meet the President of the United States, and that happens to be Linda Carter. Kara gets to actually meet her. She's all nervous, and she does that whole like funny little nervous thing that she does. When we first get to see Linda Carter in this is actually really cool, because Supergirl ends up saving her life because there's an alien out there that is actually trying to kill her. The alien from the pod from the first episode is actually awake now. He's running around National City and trying to send out a signal to his home planet. What we end up finding out after Kara defeats him and puts him in a cell in the DEO is that he's actually not from Krypton. He's actually from a planet called Daxon. Supergirl actually thinks that he's the one that's trying to kill the president in this episode, and it's not him. So they end up actually kind of coming to an agreement that they're both refugees on this planet. He has similar powers to Kara Zor-El, and his name is actually Mon-El. Lena is now actually creating a device,
an alien detection device that allows humans to find out who among them is not truly one of them.
Linda Carter's in National City to actually set up a bill that actually says it's an alien right, so they're refugees from different planets. If they can come here, in America at least, they should be able to be treated like any other refugee. She ends up actually telling J'onn J'onzz that he is a part of this world, but he doesn't live in this world. So he needs to actually get out and actually live a little bit instead of just being in just the DEO. So now there's actually a new FBI agent that is actually on the scene in this show.
Detective Maggie Sawyer, NCPD Science Division. We handle all cases involving aliens and things that go bump in the night.
And she's actually really cool. I like her a lot. I can't wait to see more of her. There's apparently a dive bar, speakeasy, that's in National City.
What the hell is this place? It's a safe haven. A place for off-worlders to hang out, have a drink, not feel so alone for a minute.
So this is where you get all your information about the alien populace in National City.
She's actually a lesbian, and I love it. I think they're gonna turn Alex gay. There's also a nice little wink to the Wonder Woman reference with Linda Carter, because they're talking about Air Force One, so this is it.
I still can't believe I got to see Air Force One.
If you think that's cool, you ought to see my other jet.
J'onn J'onzz takes the president's advice about living in the world, so he ends up actually going to the Alien Sanctuary bar, which turns out that one of the bartenders actually knows J'onn, and the reason why is because of this.
Who are you?
My name is M'gann Mors. I'm the last daughter of Mars.
I'm so excited there's another Martian, and this Martian of all things, so I'm actually this is gonna be a totally cool thing. I love it. So that brings me on to The Flash. Now, this episode is just kind of cool. It's called the New Rogues. It actually starts off in a flashback where it was the night of the particle accelerator. They ended up making two metahumans for this particular episode, and that was Mirror Master and Top. So Top's power is that she can make anybody have vertigo, and Mirror Master actually can move from mirror to mirror. One of the cool things about the flashback to the particle accelerator night is that you actually get to see Captain Cold, who unfortunately died in season 1 of Legends of Tomorrow. So I'm excited to see Wentworth back. They trap Barry in a mirror, and they need to freeze the particles enough so he can actually vibrate back through. It's not powerful enough to actually be able to get him out. When everybody leaves the room, Caitlin walks to the back of the mirror, and she starts to freeze it and freeze it and freeze it and freeze it. And she ends up actually being able to get Barry free. Now, they were like, we'll worry about how it gonna happen later. And then later on, we end up finding out that Harrison told Cisco,
The molecular decelerator. It wasn't working.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means that we did not get Barry out of the mirror. It wasn't us.
So something happened in this episode that I've been hoping is gonna happen since last season, and it is that Jesse Quick and the Kid Flash, or in this case, soon to be Kid Flash, I'm sure, kind of start dating, but not exactly, because Jesse's planning on going back to her home planet. So Wally doesn't really want to start a relationship with her because she's gonna leave soon. So Joe actually might be getting a love interest in this season, which I think is actually gonna be awesome. This is Seal. She is actually, I believe, the DEA on the show, so she's helping out a lot with these things. And there's a really funny moment when they're trying to name Mirror Master, and this is it.
Oh, I got this one. He's,
Mirror Master.
What the?
Boom.
That's good.
Thank you.
Okay, so since Harrison Wells and Jesse are going to go back to their own planet, they kind of need a replacement Wells. So Cisco ends up actually opening a portal to the multiverse, and Harrison and him end up sending out this message: we're looking for a new replacement for our Harrison on our planet. Then we go to a montage of actually showing these projections of Harrison Wells from other planets, and it's actually really funny. But the one that they end up actually turning to is this weird like hipster version of him, like, and it's really funny because the old Harrison Wells is actually kind of jealous of these other ones because he's like, they're not better than me. So this brings me on to Arrow. So on the opening sequence, what happens? Our little masked friend, War Dog, ends up actually screwing up the mission. Again.
Hey, that was Artemis' shot.
Dude was getting away.
No, he wasn't. And you missed.
So he's really starting to get on my nerves because no matter what Green Arrow tells him to do, he does the exact opposite. Just after the opening in this particular episode, Rory, or Ragman as he's been called in the show, ends up actually quitting the team because he can't work with Felicity because Felicity is the reason why his family and pretty much everybody he knows is dead. Felicity tracks him down and then she apologizes again, kind of gives him a little bit of a pep talk, and then later on in the episode he actually comes back and joins the team again. One of the cool things that Felicity ends up actually saying is that Ragman is not just Rory. Like, Rory just didn't get his powers and it was created. Actually, Ragman used to be his father, and then it was his father before him. So the suit that actually has the power has been passed down from generation to generation in his family. So at the end of the last episode, Lila comes to Oliver and says, we need to break my husband out of prison because he refuses to get out by himself because he thinks that he needs to be in there to be punished. This episode, mostly what it is Oliver going to break John out of prison while Team Arrow is trying to actually go and stop Tobias. So with the Oliver storyline, he's sneaking around the prison. It's just a bunch of stuff, and he ends up actually getting him out. But the funniest part of the whole thing was nobody wants him to go. So what they end up doing, they try to stop him. And what happens when they try to stop Oliver from doing something?
Because we're not going to let you do this.
I'm sorry. Did you say that you're not gonna let me?
War Dog ends up actually kind of sacrificing himself for his team of Tobias Church, and he's actually beating the crap out of them, and they actually have a scene where they're talking about Oliver, and then Oliver makes a grand entrance, and it was really fun.
Things have really fallen apart without Oliver, haven't they?
It's a good thing I'm back then.
Was he waiting for an entrance line? Nope. He's just that cool.
Okay, that brings me on to my final show, and that is Legends of Tomorrow. So in the last episode, Eobard Thawne actually kills Rex, the leader of the JSA. So in this opening sequence, we have Vixen now on the ship, beating the crap out of everybody. She forgets about Nate, who is actually still in recovery from being blown up. So that super serum that they end up actually inserting into Nate's skin ends up not just healing him, giving him superpowers. He actually can turn his body into steel. So he ends up actually sneaking up behind Vixen and knocking her out. When Rex died, he said it was a time traveler. They say it wasn't them. Sarah and her come to an agreement saying, look, we're looking for the person who's doing this. So this other time traveler that is screwing with us, which they don't know is the Reverse Flash yet, are trying to capture this person too. So now Vixen's part of the team, and I really hope she stays because I like her. So Ray is actually now in charge of teaching Nate how to use his new power as steel. There's some roughhousing that goes along in the cargo hold, and then Nick's storyline ends up going where he is found by a farmer's daughter and taken to recuperate. Ray ends up falling into the same timeline and ends up actually getting kidnapped by a bunch of samurais and gets his super suit stolen by the Emperor. They end up saving Ray and getting to Nate. They all kind of like join up, and then basically it's like, we need to save this city because this guy has Ray's super suit, and they're gonna kill the entire village because they're trying to get actually to that farmer's daughter, because that farmer's daughter is supposed to be marrying the new emperor. There's a really funny line that they do when they find out that the super suit has been stolen.
Oh, hey guys.
Wrong way, haircut.
What about my suit? We can get it later.
When they get Ray back, they're trying to teach Nate how to use his newfound powers, and unfortunately it doesn't go very well because he can't figure it out. But one of the things that that Ray is trying to teach him is how to destroy the super suit. He feels that he's not a superhero unless he actually has that super suit.
I worked for years, spent billions of dollars to develop the Atom suit. I nearly died learning to shrink. And now, I have to teach you to destroy the very thing, the only thing, that makes me a hero.
Okay, so the whole end fight sequence in this whole episode, I would love to just put it on here, the whole thing. It's probably about 10 minutes long, so I can't really do it. But the fight scenes was so amazing. It was like an epic battle. So they end up at the end actually defeating the Emperor. And so now Vixen is going to actually stay on the show for the rest of the season or something. I'm not exactly sure how long she's going to stay. I hope forever because I love her. That brings me to the end of my comic book TV reviews for week 4. Like, subscribe, share, and as always, I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.